spoke about Ice Spice's human design and mentioned that she's got some similarities to Doja Cat, and they went on tour together, they collabed. So I wanted to dive into that a little bit more too. Hi everybody, I'm Sable Danielle and I'm a human design coach and sound healer, and today I'm here to talk all about Doja Cat's human design. In one of the last videos that I uploaded, I spoke about Ice Spice's human design and mentioned that she's got some similarities to Doja Cat, and they went on tour together, they collabed. So I wanted to dive into that a little bit more too. So today, let's dive in. So Doja Cat and Ice Spice share the same profile, which is a 2-4. And that means that they have gifts that are supposed to be expanded upon and brought out by like the community, their network, the people that they surround themselves by. So it's kind of an interesting thing to see, like looking from the outside in, that Doja Cat liked Ice Spice's energy and like what she brings to the table and just how she shows up, and saw the gifts, the energetic gifts inside of her, and wanted to collab with her and help bring her light to the stage, help her shine, all of those things. So they positively impacted one another, and they also share generator energy. So Ice Spice is a manifesting generator, and Doja Cat is a generator, and the generator energy means that they have energy, like unlimited energy to exhaust in things that fulfill them and are aligned with their purpose. They are the worker bees, and so although they're slightly different, they still have the same base of that defined sacral center energy, which gives them that limitless worker bee energy when they're putting their energy into things that are aligned with their purpose and that things that fulfill them. So those are two components that brought them together, the generator energy and then their profile energy. When you compare both charts together, their energies are also very like compatible. They only have one center that's different, where they have no definition in one of their centers, and I will show that on the screen here. I believe it's the will center, and you can see that in their energy. So I just wanted to show just a little bit of that comparison there. Doja Cat has a undefined emotional solar plexus, and the emotional solar plexus center is all about emotional awareness, emotional energy. It also gives off a lot of creative energy, very strong creative energy, your passions and your desires. It gives off very sexy, seductress like energy, which you can see in Doja Cat and you can see in Ice Spice. And if you go through most of the celebrities, you'll see that, especially in people with defined emotional solar plexus centers. Although the energy is there for everyone, it's just more consistent and reliable with people who have that center defined. So the emotional solar plexus center also is the center for arts and music and, like I said, creativity. And in the emotional solar plexus, I said defined, but a defined emotional solar plexus means that you have more consistent, reliable energy in there. Forgive me, I misspoke earlier. Defined emotional solar plexus, that's what you have, reliable, consistent energy you were born with. Regardless of whether it's undefined or defined, the emotional solar plexus represents your emotional awareness. It represents your creative energy, your passions, your desires. Like I said, the sexual, seductress energy, romance, artsy things, that energy is always going to be there from that center. However, if it's undefined, it's just not as consistent. Or if it's defined, it's pretty much just always there. If it's undefined, you kind of just have to tap into it when the energy feels right and when the energy is there. And so Doja Cat does a good job at doing that. Her emotional solar plexus is undefined for clarity purposes, just in case I misspoke earlier. With her emotional solar plexus being undefined, that means that she's taking in the emotional energy within the environment around her. So her emotions are very fluid. She's impacted by the energies around her. She's vulnerable. She's sensitive. She takes in that energy and she amplifies it. And so People with undefined emotional solar plexus centers, they don't necessarily do well with intense emotions or confrontation and conflict. And so that means that they can either shy away from it and like completely avoid it altogether, or when they actually are confronted with it, like they're confronted with it and they're not scared to say what they have to say. And so with Doja Cat, you know that like when she responds to people, sometimes it's emotional or people take it emotionally. They might take that emotionally because she's just being direct and blunt and like just saying it like it is, saying how she feels, or she won't really respond and say anything. And maybe that's because the energy is too intense, or she just doesn't really care to respond. But either way, that's kind of ingrained in her energy with having an undefined solar plexus center. You can also tell that she has a lot of creative energy. She's passionate about what she does. She's a very creative, seductress type of passionate queen. Like from her outfits to her hair to her makeup, how she expresses herself in her music or through like what she puts on, her tattoos, like all of that. She's very creative and she just kind of does what she wants. And in her own light, like that makes her very sexy and seductive, and she knows how to dance, and like all of that comes from, you know, her emotional solar plexus center. So I just wanted to show you all that, and this is what it looks like. Next, we'll talk about her open will center. And the will center is the center that's responsible for your self-esteem. It drives your willpower, your self-worth, money related things, materialistic related things, your values. With it being open, that means that she has an inconsistent energy of self-worth or self-esteem. Like it's very fluid depending on her mood or who she's around or what her environment makes her feel like. And so her level of self-worth and how much she values herself or how confident she is may fluctuate regularly. Even if she comes across as a very confident person, we never know like what her internal battles or struggles are. And I was watching the Apple Music interview with her, and she did mention that she's sensitive and has you know, she has been working through issues with her self-worth or like her body image, and that could come from her open will center. So she struggles with having a strong, reliable sense of I'm always confident about who I am and how I look and what I do. And so she has to feel through those ebbs and flows of having an open will center. And so hopefully she's built up her self-worth and self-esteem. So I think we all should work on that. Also with an open will center, she's just naturally not competitive, and she doesn't have a consistent, reliable source of willpower. So that just means that like, it doesn't mean she can't have willpower or she can't create and make things happen that she wants to make happen. It just means that it takes a little bit more energy. It means that she may have to take some breaks, and she has to follow the flow of what her energy is doing rather than just being ready and able to do that all the time, like someone with a defined will center would have an easier time doing. She also mentioned in her Apple Music interview that she's not doing anything to compete with anybody. She likes to just do what she does. She puts stuff out that she likes. She doesn't feel like she needs to explain herself to people or like be the voice for people. She likes everyone to just kind of be their own individual self and stand in who they are and speak up for what they stand in, and like just claim and own who you are as an individual. And so that probably also stems from her open will center. She doesn't want to prove anything to anybody. And I think just maneuvering how she maneuvers, releasing the music she releases, the visuals with her videos, she shaved off her eyebrows, like she shaved off her hair. Like typically society is not going to be okay with those type of things, and she did get a lot of shit for it, but she didn't care because she's not competing to be like the most beautiful person by society standards and needing to have the hair. She feels like she's beautiful without it, and she is. And her being confident enough to know that and not be competitive with like trying to stand out and prove herself, that makes her even more confident. And maybe she has like come across, her energy seems more confident, and maybe she has days where she's not confident and like as confident as she is one day in how she looks with her hair or whatever, but at the end of the day, she's only competing with herself and her own source of happiness and peace. So that's pretty awesome. One thing that did stick out to me, like I just mentioned, is that she definitely seemed to put a huge emphasis on not proving anything to anyone and not having to be like the voice of something, the one voice for a whole collective group of people, because everyone is an individual, everyone thinks differently, everyone has different feelings and views and experiences, and so to just be the one spokesperson, she doesn't like to have all that pressure, and that could stem from her open will center, but she mentioned it a lot, so it's very important to her. So that's kind of cool to see outlined in her energy and her body graph. She also doesn't provide a lot of clarity to people when they make accusations or say things online to her. Like she mentioned in the interview that she never said that she was a demon worshiper or something like that. Like she never claimed any of these things. These are just assumptions that people made about her because of what her video looked like or what she wore out in her video or whatever. And because she doesn't respond, people create their own like stories, and it just snowballs into whatever it snowballs into, and she lets it do that because she doesn't feel the need to have to provide clarity for things that people are already going to make assumptions about. And even if she provides clarity, they're going to believe what they want. And I think also the people who truly just like know her or vibe with her or kind of understand her energy understand what it is. So you don't really need to explain what's understood by the people who are in alignment with you. And I think that's kind of what I got from what she was saying in her interview and the vibe that she gives off. Like she just doesn't give a fuck, clearly. I keep talking about it because she's one of the main people that just doesn't care, and I love that about her. So she also mentioned that she's sensitive and she had to work through her body image issues, and so yes, that stems from her open will center. She also has an undefined identity center. The identity center is the center that is responsible for your strong sense of purpose, your strong vision of where you're supposed to go, your strong sense of identity about who you are, how you show up to the world. And so with hers being undefined, it means that it's inconsistent, it's unreliable. She has a very fluid sense of who she is, which you can see as how she shows up. She never shows up the same. You never know what she's gonna look like. She might have hair one day, she might not. She might have eyebrows one day, she might not. She might have really like eclectic makeup on one day, she might not. Like, you just never know. And that's because her identity center is not defined. It's not set in stone. Like Nicki Minaj, I believe. I'm gonna do another video on her, but Nicki Minaj has a defined identity. I think, let me not misspeak because I might be wrong. Just wait for the Nicki Minaj video. But someone who shows up consistently to the world, who they are, would have a defined identity center. And when I say consistently shows up, meaning like their presence is almost always the same. You can pretty much guess how they're gonna appear when they're in front of social media. Whereas Doja Cat, I feel like she has a strong sense of who she is. It doesn't mean that you don't have a strong sense of who you are. It just means you're fluid with who you are. You allow yourself to like grow and change and just show up how you want to show up on that day in that moment, and you never know how that's going to be. And I think that that's exactly what she does, and that's how she shows up to the world. And I think that that's kind of why the world is so confused by her, because they don't really know what to expect, and that stems from her undefined identity center. So I hope this makes sense to all of you. I wanted to start breaking down the celebrity human design body graph charts and talk about what their energy like would look like in the real world, I guess, to make it more relatable and understandable for people who don't know what human design is, or who would like to have more examples of kind of what that energy looks like and how it shows up. And this is fun for me to do. So if you want me to do any other like celebrities, drop them in the comments. If you have any questions, anything, drop it in the comments below. I already got a request for Nicki Minaj, so that's upcoming soon, so turn your notifications on. And also, if you are ready to learn more about human design, I have a workshop coming up March 13th. It's about human design and relationships, and you can find that on Eventbrite, Sable Danielle. All the details are in my description box. You can also go to my website, sabledanielle.com, to book a one-on-one session with me to go over your own personal body graph, or to book a session with me to go over your body graph compared to like your partner's or your child or your best friends or your mom or sister, whoever you want to strengthen your relationship with, or maybe improve communication, or just understand on a deeper level. We can go over those charts. So just check out my website. The description box has all those details, sabledanielle.com, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Please don't forget to turn on your notifications because we got some good videos coming up. Subscribe, share. Thank you all for being here, and have a good day, y'all. Peace.